There's a word that's followed me around incessantly ever since I was a kid. Feo. In Spanish, it means ugly. My stepmother and many others at the time had said it enough that it had stopped being an insult and started being a name. I didn't know it yet, but the old languages had a warning about exactly this. A name is a spell, and somebody had cast one on me. The word fairy comes from the old French fari, from fée. Trace that root all the way down and you hit Latin, fata, the fates, three sisters who spin the thread of your life, measure it, and cut it. Keep digging, fatum, fate itself, comes from the verb fari, to speak. Fate is literally that which has been spoken. Medieval Latin even had a verb for casting one, fatare, to enchant someone by placing a fate on them, out loud. So when somebody speaks a word over you, again and again and again, in the oldest sense, they're not describing you, they're enchanting you, they're hexing you. The Irish took this seriously. They called it a geis, a spoken bond laid on one specific person. The hero, Cuchulainn, carried several, and his enemies figured out they couldn't beat him in a fight. So they did something smarter. They forced him to break one of his geisa. His strength left his body, and he died that very same day. That's the rule in every version of the story. You don't survive breaking the word. And it wasn't just Ireland. Egypt taught that your name, your ren, was literally a piece of your soul. Enemies didn't just kill you, they chiseled your name off the monument so you die a second time. Mesopotamia imagined destiny as a physical object, the tablet of destinies. Whoever held it held the world. Fate you could steal because fate was something written. And one old book opens with the line, "In the beginning was the word." Different consonants, different gods, different stories, all on one agreement. Saying it makes it so. And before you tell me we've outgrown all this, you still knock on wood. You still won't say the good thing out loud before it happens because you'll jinx it. You still speak of the devil when someone appears the moment the name leaves your mouth. The superstition never died, it just stopped introducing itself, which left me with a problem because I had a word on me too, and I couldn't break it. So I did the other thing. The speech is only half how fate travels. Rome had a word for the other half, vatis, the seer. The fates speak of what's coming, the vatis sees it. Ireland had them too, the filda, poet seers, second only to the kings. They could cross any border untouched, and their gift of sight had a name, imbus forosnai, the illumination that pierces the ordinary. Here's how seriously people took all of this. They wouldn't even say the word fairy out loud. They said the fair folk, the good neighbors, the gentry, because if names summon, then their name summons them. Even the euphemism is proof of this thesis. Speech was live ammunition, and everyone knew it. And there's a pattern in the seer stories once you look. The seer goes blind first. Odin trades an eye at the well for wisdom. The blind swordsman cuts truer than anyone with sight. The oracle veiled their eyes to open a different one. Ordinary vision fails, and the deeper sight opens. The psychologist Carl Jung noticed the same thing about fairies themselves. In stories from every culture, the fairy shows up at the exact moment reason runs out. When the hero is lost, grieving, out of moves, that's when the little light appears. A kid, alone in the world, too big for him, gets a fairy before he even gets a sword. The great fairy rebuilds what's broken. The long-lived mage only starts to understand humans standing at a grave. Folklore keeps repeating the same claim. The Fae find the people life is being up, not the strong, not the cunning, but the broken, the beaten, and the damned, those who are cracked open. That's when we finally stop arguing and listen. So, the word binds fate, the image reveals it. Now look at what you're watching. Every frame on the screen is an image I chose, cut, and placed. I don't speak my half of this essay, I edit it, and one day I'll show you a painter hiding in a certain game, a seer in plain sight, painting deaths before they even happen. That's a future video, but for today, all you need to know is the seers are real and they work in pictures. Before you file all of this under mythology, modern psychology quietly agrees too. Your inner voice isn't born inside you. Psychologists going back to Vygotsky have argued that inner speech begins as outer speech. The voices around you absorb so young and so completely that they end up sounding like your own thoughts. Call a kid a loser often enough, and eventually the label doesn't need to arrive from outside anymore. He says it to himself, in his own voice, for free. Sociologists call it labeling. Pavlov would have called it conditioning. The Egyptians would have called it fatare. So, back to my word, feo, ugly, Cucullin died breaking his geis. I didn't break mine, I kept it. Turns out, there's a precedent in the oldest story humanity ever written down. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the wild man Enkidu lies dying, and with his final strength, he curses Shamat, the woman who made him human. He speaks her ruin, line by line, and the sun god, Shamash, calls down and stops him, reminds him, she gave you bread, beer, friendship, everything worth having. So Enkidu does something almost no one in mythology does. He takes the same dying breath he used to curse her and re-speaks it as a blessing. Every curse inverted one by one. 4,000 years ago, the loophole was already on the tablet. You can't break the word, but you can re-speak it. There's a character in Elden Ring I've always related to, Bach, a small, twisted creature transmorgified into a bush, apologizing for his own face. The world called him ugly for so long that he ended up believing it. He ended up becoming it. And late in his story, he's offered a way out, a new body, a new birth, a rebirth, escape through the flesh. If he takes it, he dies. The only thing that saves Bach is a sentence, a recorded voice played out loud by a long-lost mother, telling him, "You're beautiful." The wound was made of words, and so is the cure. I used to go by ugly halfling online. Halflings are ugly by the book. Big hands, big feet, too fond of second breakfast, and their goddess gave them one blessing to carry, innate luck. Read that again. An entire people whose fate is a gift, a spoken blessing instead of a spoken curse. Same mechanism, opposite charge. So here's what I did with mine. Feo, the word she gave me, I bent into Fae, and Fae has its own history. In Old English, fage meant fated to die. Over 1,000 years, the word itself walked from doom to enchantment. It made the exact journey I needed, a memento mori that grew wings. The 0H, ugly halfling, the luckily ugly one. I kept him too, and in Irish, names O means descendant of, Fae _ 0H, descendant of the Fae, the fated one, the ugly one, all of it on purpose. I fataried myself before the world could finish doing it for me. Here's the part you already know. Even if you never said it this way, you do this too. Nobody's gamer tag, nobody's handle, nobody's nickname is assigned at birth. Your handle, the name you actually answer to, the one your friends actually call you, you spoke that one over yourself. Somewhere along the way, you decided that your given name wasn't the whole story, and you cast a better one. That's not a username, that's a fatari. So if there's a word somebody put on you, you already know the rule. Breaking it only kills you slowly. But nothing in the old stories says you can't re-speak it. We are all painters of our own destiny. Oh, and now you know exactly what that means. If a word ever got put on you, tell me in the comments what you'd bend it into. And drop your handle's origin story while you're down there. I want to know what you fataried yourself into. Best re-speaking gets pinned. Until next time, remember, you're beautiful.